Hey, Welcome World Entertainment, and further proof to show us that the people who are in charge of Star Trek hate Star Trek. We're about to have a look at this because, believe it or not, we've just been told that Picard Season 2, yes, remember that trash fire, was completely rewritten after Paramount deemed it, yeah, you guessed it, to Star Trek. Yeah, we're going to have a look at this because this comes from none other than Terry Matalas himself, the man who, of course, was the showrunner for Season 3, who actually gave us a good season of Star Trek, but he was an executive producer on Season 2. And he talks about how COVID and the burden of running out of money really affected things and stuff like that. How if one person got sick on the set, the unions would shut them down, and they were only halfway through doing Season 2 when they split off to start work on Season 3. Well, get this. The executive producer offered some details on how the second season had to be rewritten based on feedback from Paramount Plus. And here's what Terry Matalas says. We wrote 9 episodes at one point, and the network was like, no, we don't really understand this. It's a bit too sci-fi. It's a bit too in Star Trek. Matalas shared some details about that first version of the season and described why Paramount Plus asked for a change. By the way, it should be noted that he says there's many different versions of Season 2. Yeah, so it's not like they had a version, they said it's too Star Trek, change it, and they went with the next one. Apparently it was constantly changing, and he even admits you can see that when you watch it, because he says you can just see elements for stories here, and whatnot. But let's see what Paramount exactly asked to be changed. So there were Romulans. There was a whole thing. This is him saying this, by the way. The idea was that Guinan's bar was presented as a normal bar in Los Angeles, but if you knew the right thing to do, you could go into the back through the telephone phone booth, and that was Rick's Cafe, and it was a stopping point for all these different species that were actually there on Earth with a do not interfere thing happening. So you had a lot more Star Trek happening in the backdrop of it. Ultimately, the powers that be at the time were like, this is too much, but there were some really good ideas there that were pretty cool. So they're kind of saying it was meant to be like an undercover alien bar kind of thing. They're kind of referencing it to being something like Men in Black. And by the sounds of this isn't meant to be in the past either. That this was meant to be the future. And it just goes on, and it talks about the Borg and stuff like that. But the main part that was rewritten was that they wanted all these aliens, and they wanted it to look and feel like Star Trek a bit anyway. And Paramount were like, no, it's too sci-fi, it's too Star Trek. And then the budget was running out as well with COVID and everything else, which is why they ended up saying, scrap everything, let's do this in the past so we can just shoot in Los Angeles. What a joke. How many times have we now heard that Paramount has said no to ideas for Star Trek because it's too Star Trek? We've heard it with Star Trek Beyond, when Simon Pegg said originally they brought the first draft of the script to Paramount and they went, no, it's too Star Trek, we want it to be more Guardians of the Galaxy. And now we're being told by Terry Matalas how they rewrit Star Trek Picard Season 2 completely, because not just were they running out of money, they were basically broke at this stage, and they wanted to get rid of the alien stuff. But the fact that Paramount was like, it's too sci-fi and it's too Star Trek. Like, what is going on? I think it's time Paramount just sell Star Trek. What is the point in them having it if they don't want to keep it what it is, which is Star Trek? If they don't want it to be Star Trek, what the hell are they trying to make it into? I need to know these answers. It's so ridiculous. But anyway, there you go. Apparently, according to Terry Metalis, they completely rewrote season 2 of Picard multiple times, but the first time it happened was because it was too Star Trek. Wow. With that, I will leave it there for this one. So cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.